Hey y'all, it's Meg Casebolt from Love at First Search, and here's something that you may not know about me. In 2013, I actually became a certified yoga teacher. I was leaving my corporate job and I wanted to have something else to keep me busy and keep me out in the community while I was building up my website design business. And so I started teaching yoga classes all over my local community of Saratoga Springs. I taught at a yoga studio, I taught beginners yoga at Saratoga Springs High School, I taught through the community center. So if that sounds like where you are now, if you're offering fitness services, if you're a personal trainer, if you have one-to-one classes, if you're teaching at a dance studio, if you have a boxing gym, if you have some sort of fitness or wellness or exercise related business and you're trying to get foot traffic into your studio, or you're going to go to try to meet people in your community, I want you to listen to this interview that I just did. I'm going to be interviewing Connie Holen from Pixality Design, who specializes in building SEO-friendly websites for fitness and wellness businesses. And Connie and I just teamed up to create a very targeted mini course just for our fitness professionals in our audience. So if you want to go find out more about that and how you can get more traffic from your local community to your fitness and wellness website, head on over to loveatfirstsearch.com/fitness and you can get way more information about that course. So we're going to talk all about the details of what we cover in that course together. And we're going to be talking specifically about how to get your business to show up in Google Maps and in the search results of people in your community who are looking for your fitness and exercise and wellness services. So stick with me and I'll be with you right after this to talk to Connie. Hey there, Connie. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so I am so excited to leap into this conversation with you all about not just SEO in general, but a specific type of SEO for people who are in the fitness space. So for wellness coaches, for personal trainers, for yoga instructors, for Pilates studios, and you're the person that I go to whenever I speak to this audience. So I wanted to bring you in to sort of bring your brilliance to this group of people. So if you don't mind just introducing yourself really quickly and letting us know who you are, what you do, I would love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Connie Holen. I am the owner and founder of Pixality Design. It's a boutique web design agency for fitness and wellness businesses. I'm a mind body certified business consultant and have been working exclusively in this market niche for almost 10 years now.
Gosh.
So lots of, yeah, I know. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I remember when you
um,
specialized down into that niche and now you've been doing it for almost 10 years. It's just making me feel like very old.
yes, I know. We've known each other a long time. We go way
I
back.
know.
Um, So yeah, I've, over the years kind of adjusted my services. It's primarily web design, but, once that website is launched for the client, they need traffic to it. And so I've layered on a good amount of SEO in what I talk about and what I do for my clients to give them that foundation to start getting clients. And I feel like SEO, that local SEO is, so often missed in a lot of designers, especially, working with these type of clients, but it's so critical for their businesses to get found in their local area. So it's really become something that, goes hand in hand with all the web design services that I do. And, I just see people out there with gorgeous websites that don't have the local SEO on it. They're literally hiding themselves from Google of where they're hiding their location from Google, essentially. And it kills me because, they're offering great services in their community and they're like so hard to find on the internet. So yeah, that's why, I'm excited to partner with you. I'm excited to, launch this course with you to hopefully, reach more people and help them get those basic foundational stuff in place to get found
Yeah.
online.
And there are a lot of actions that you can take in like a half a day that can work out really long term for you to get more people into your local classes or booking personal training services or things along those lines. It doesn't have to be this kind of ongoing posting that we get with, like if you were to be like, I'm going to post on Instagram every day, then you have to think about it every day.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there really is some low hanging fruit that anyone can do. If you know where to look, you know where to go, you know what to put in those spots on the internet, it can be done in, like you said, half a day. And then it like is with you to grow your business, for the future. Some of the most successful clients that I work with now, who have been in business, 10, 15, 20 years, they get so much of their traffic from search without having to pay for ads, without having to be, hustling content on social media. It's just there, and it's grown over time. It didn't happen overnight for them, but establishing that early on in your business, I just see it reap benefits, hand over hand later in the future. It just is something that grows and magnifies without having to constantly spend, ad spend or content creation time or all of those other things. So
Totally. And I think also, when 2 years ago, when the pandemic started, everybody went online, including businesses that you are working with who were mostly in person businesses, who had studios, who have, their personal trainers who are working at gyms. There are people who are in physical locations providing services, and we all had to go online. And so when it comes to the resources that are online, so many of those resources are about like how to do video on demand trainings or how to build an online membership, which is not what we're talking about here, right? So I want to be really clear there, because I think sometimes people will go, oh, yoga for SEO, and that's what shows up. Or like, how do I do personal training? And it's like, well, just record yourself doing these moves and put them on YouTube and people will find you. But that's not the business model that we're talking about.
right. And one of the things that I think got lost in that pandemic zone where we were all just kind of scrambling, these brick and mortar location-based businesses had to go online. So they pulled back on emphasizing that location. And a lot of them haven't put that back in place. And that's your, for those businesses, that's your biggest differentiator. If you're going virtual studio, I'm talking to everyone worldwide, you have to have a specific niche. You have to have a different marketing plan. But just by offering local location-based services, like that's a huge differentiator. And so getting back to those basics and saying people want what I offer near me, now that reduces the pool of my competition significantly, but you still have to get found in that local area. So yes, absolutely. This course and what we're talking about here, it's for people who offer services in person, whether they're a personal trainer or a yoga teacher, or they have a small studio. It is location based. And, that does get lumped in a lot of SEO discussions online. People start reading things and they're talking about blogging and they're talking about other things that apply to all kinds of business types. But that specific business type, boy, the low hanging fruit, the really important stuff that you want to get found for all has a location identifier on it. So local SEO is absolutely where you need to start.
Yeah, and it's something like 50% of all searches on the internet are local in some way. So when we're talking about local versus organic SEO, we're talking about any search that can end with the phrase near me. So I did a little bit of research before we agreed to collaborate on this, where it's like how many people are looking for these kinds of fitness services or wellness classes or exercise programs. Like how many of them are looking for them in local searches? So like throughout the United States, I found very easily over 400,000 searches a month for this, including 10,000 a month of just people looking for goat yoga near me. So if you're a goat
Naked
yoga
is another
instructor,
one, by the way.
what? Oh, naked yoga?
Naked yoga, that comes up too.
And honestly,
It's a smaller percentage than goat yoga, though.
but naked yoga is probably very location independent, because like I'm not planning to do naked yoga. I'd be much more likely to do it in San Diego though than in like Portland, Maine. So although we talk about near me being a search term, remember that people are looking for things basically on Google Maps. And so the term near me can be a little bit misleading, because when I'm searching for near me, Google knows where I'm standing. If I'm looking on my phone and I'm standing, a town away from me, it would know that. It would know exactly where I am, where I'm searching from, and it would be able to pull those searches near me. So if you have a studio or if you're teaching in a specific facility, this can be huge for you in terms of people looking for, CrossFit trainers or dance lessons or things along those lines, where they don't want to have to drive 45 minutes each way to work out. But as pandemic is the restrictions are continuing to ease, people are going back to those in-person classes, I think we're just going to continue to see a rise in these types of searches. So can you talk to me a little bit about how to get your business, or maybe more why you want to get your business on Google Maps, And how does that work if you don't have like a studio that you're running? If you're an independent teacher or trainer, can you still get clients from Google Maps? I mean, I know the answer, but I'm going to let you be the expert here.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, what I'm seeing, I don't know if you're seeing it too, but this, 2022 is the time of this recording, and I'm seeing a big uptick in businesses that I work with and in searches going on of people looking for the like one-on-one. So
Mm,
personal trainers, people even with studios, but wanting to book private sessions or duets, duos, or, very small group. I mean, just that's kind of the psyche of the world right now is, one, they're valuing, the expertise that can come from getting one-on-one support, but they're also more comfortable in smaller groups or in a one-on-one setting. So I think there is a rise, there's kind of backlash in this pandemic of the importance of being able to get found if you're a personal brand, if you're a small studio, because people are looking for more of those small group or those small one-on-one settings. And so, yes, for Google business profiles, that's the way that you get on that Google map. It's an asset that's in Google itself. Studios most likely do this, pretty early on when they're getting started because they have a street address.
right.
But a lot of people don't know if you are, personal trainer, you're your own brand, you go to your client's location to train them. You can absolutely have a Google business profile. And it shows as a service to area business. So it shows as kind of a region that you're willing to go to. So if you think about the traditional, locksmith or window cleaner, they don't have necessarily, you're not going to go to, a locksmith. The whole point of their business is they come to you and they help you get into your, locked, they used to be locked cars. Now we have different ways, but, so that service to area business is that, it is a business, but it goes out to the location to deliver those services. Really same principle. And Google knows that businesses operate that way. So same principle happens for personal trainers, independent Pilates teachers, yoga teachers, massage therapists, really high demand for that type of wellness services right now too. But you can set that up on Google where it shows your business name. You don't have to list your home address, even if your place of business is technically your home address. You don't have to list that publicly. You put that into Google, they'll confirm that that's where you live, but then publicly you just show a service to area and say, basically I do a 10-mile radius, from town center or something. So you can absolutely still show up in that prime listing on Google without having a location that people come to.
Exactly. And I think you really tapped into something interesting with the idea of one-to-one or small group services. As let's talk about this as like an example, because I think that you're totally right that more people, and I've seen this trend showing up too, that people are like, I want to get back into shape. I had a year, 2 years of needing to do like the Beachbody on Demand or the Yoga with Adrienne or some of those more like Peloton bikes, like things that are mass market options. And they had to do them at home or they had to do them outside. And the option for that personalized touch was no longer available to us. And now that it is again, we're going, well, I'm flabby. That didn't work. I need someone to hold me accountable, right? I need someone to come and create a plan for me, but I don't necessarily trust that everyone else who's in that class is going to be as safe or as healthy as I am. So I just want me and like my two besties to hire somebody to come to my house or to
Mm-hmm.
go meet up at a park someplace. And so the fact that I, as somebody who's looking for the service, I might search for that as semi-private. Somebody else might search for that as small group. Somebody else might search for that as, personal training in home, right? And those are all what we call keywords. Those are things that people are going into Google and searching for. All of those are basically the same service, but there are different ways that people are talking about that service. So
Right.
tell me a little bit, especially from the perspective of people who are in the fitness and exercise and wellness space, how do you find and figure out what it is that people exactly are looking for?
Yeah, the first way is just, forget everything the expert mentality that you have, that all specifically what your modality is referred to. Like forget that and put yourself back in the shoes of maybe when you were just first starting. What would you type
Mhm.
into Google? Ask some of your clients, what terms, what words they're using to describe what services you offer. Just really try to back out yourself from all and, get back down to like the basics. You can also go to Google. This is a, really fun way to do it, and just start typing in like, fitness near me or personal trainer near me. And Google's going to give you some suggestions. You know how Google works. Like, do you mean this? They're going to give you some prompts. So that's a great way to see, Google thinks what other people are typing in to find similar stuff to you. So, I would say take the very basic core of what you do, and just start, looking around at, how people are talking about it in real life and how people are, maybe searching in Google for it. There's certainly, as you know, other sophisticated tools to do that keyword research. But you can get a pretty good, solid starting point for those local search terms if you just kind of poke around and you're open to seeing what other people are referring to your services as. And don't try and get too cute with your service names. Call it what it is, call it what people are calling it. And then Google will more easily be able to match you to people searching for that thing.
Yeah, and I love your advice to like keep it as simple as your audience would say. So if you're trying to reach people who are brand new to yoga, you're not going to come out and be like, I teach vinyasa, but not Ashtanga, right? Because people who are brand new are like, do I have to wear special pants for this? Like, they're not ready for these specialized keywords about the different modalities. Same with, what are the outcomes that people want to get from you? If you're a strength coach, you want to talk about that. Or if you're helping people to run faster, you want to talk about some of those things that you can help them with, instead of just like, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a personal trainer, right? Like, if you want to help people lose weight, but you also don't want to specifically come out and say like, we're going to weigh you every time you visit, you might want to say, I'm a body positive personal trainer for beginners who are trying, like, there are ways that you can simplify or signify things to Google and to your audience in terms of the words that you're choosing. Now, once we choose those words, where the heck do they go, Connie?
Right. So the first place is on that Google business profile, there's spots for your services. So list your services, list your prices, or your starting out prices at least. Put as much information as you can into Google itself with those specific words that people are searching for. So make it easy for Google to show you. Google loves their own ecosystem, right? So let's make it easy for them to match you. So that's the first place is, do a good job building out that Google business profile, give it some love, put all the right words in there, be descriptive, but be talking to real people in it too. And then the second place is your website, and specifically your website homepage. The biggest miss I see a lot of businesses in this space, and it kills me every time I see it, is you literally cannot find your location on your homepage anywhere. I have to go to your like contact page to even find out that you have a location and what city you're in. So again, if you're hiding that from people visiting your site, you're hiding that from Google too. So homepage, in one of the headlines, it doesn't have to be the biggest headline, but one of the headlines up near the top, put that very simple term that you want to get found for. I'm a reformer Pilates, instructor in Sacramento, California. Put that stuff up there in a headline. So headline of your website, the website title, which is if you hover over the like top tab, and you'll be able to see that what your website title is. So that's a huge place that screams to Google what you do and where you're at. And then, that location info, I would say on every page of your site, somewhere in the footer maybe. But there's kind of few big places that Google looks at and really prioritizes to figure out who you are and what you do, because it's Google's job to do that, right? That's what they're based on, is matching the services with the people who are searching. So you kind of see those places and fill them in.
And maybe even think about not only what is the place that you are located, but also when we were talking earlier about Google Maps and that service area, thinking about how to integrate some of those phrases in there. This doesn't mean in your footer you say, I serve the Bay Area, which includes San Francisco and San Jose and Oakland. Like, you don't have to necessarily list all of those places out word for word, but be aware of where it is that you want your people to come from. And that might be, I'm willing to drive this far. And that might be people who are in these demographic areas might be more likely to be able to afford me. And when you go into your Google business profile, you can even say like, I want this zip code, but not this zip code, right? So be aware of the demographics of the region you're trying to rank in. And also, if you do have events or classes, you can put the address of those also throughout your website. So if you are doing boot camp in the park, or you're doing, Saturday morning yoga sessions over at the rec center, like make sure to include those addresses, those towns that you're working in, because you might drive 2 towns away to do those boot camp classes, and then you're ranking for your hometown and you're ranking for your location town, and that will also help Google to recognize that service area outside of just you telling it like, these are my zones, but also your website is demonstrating it in a very tangible way if you include that information.
Right. And another great way to sneak in those locations is with testimonials. And so if you have some testimonials from some clients and it's, this was a great service and this is what I got out of it, Susie from Fair Oaks, there's a little suburb of Sacramento that maybe you want to target. So you can sprinkle those in if you've got clients from different neighborhoods or different, cities within the region that you service.
I'm always telling my interior designers and my web designers to do that. I hadn't thought to tell my fitness professionals to include where their specific clients are coming from. That's so smart.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for credibility. And then it also just, is one more little like, oh, she's near me type. One more location indicator.
Exactly. I trust a little bit, or maybe I know Susie from Fair Oaks and I'm like, oh, hey, I didn't know that you work with this person. So it's nice to have some recognition in those testimonials, which is especially helpful in local businesses where it's like, it might be my across the street neighbor who's also going to the same person for their CrossFit. And I'm like, oh, you want to carpool? Right. It makes me that much more likely to go. So with that in mind, once people find your website, so they are searching for, I want the dance studio, and then they find your dance studio and they see where it is on Google Maps and they get to your website. What then? How do we make sure that they actually like show up to a class or call to book an appointment? Like, what are the steps to get people from a click to a conversion?
Right. Well, as a web designer, it's my favorite question of them all. But
it's like bumps that spike over here.
Right. And it is true though. I mean, just because your website is found doesn't make it useful for your clients. Doesn't make it effective. You can have you can get found. You can have all the traffic in the world from Google, and then convert none of those to clients, and it's doing you no good. So, we really want, other than those things we talked about. Yes, you want to balance the fact that here's the services that I do, here's the locations in very plain language, but you want to have very client-focused messaging throughout your site too, to really make them feel like you understand them, you understand their needs, they're in the right place. You also want to have clear navigation that shows your pricing, or at least a starting at pricing, so they understand that it's affordable to them or it isn't. If they don't see pricing, they're probably going to assume it's out of their price range. So you want to have at least some type of context for pricing. The next thing clients are going to ask themselves is, does it fit in my schedule? So if you offer preset class times, you need to have a preview of those class times, or at least the available hours that you're available for appointments. And then some type of clear call to action about how they get started. A lot of websites you go to, they're talking about, we do this, this is what we offer. And then you're like, okay, you got me. Now what? And there's no next clear step, right? Like, do I call? What do I do? How do I get started? So when I'm building websites, like to have button on the top right of the navigation that's like, get started, or 50% off your first session, or 5-pack classes for whatever the offer is, the first step, and then walk them through on that page. Here's how you get started. Fill out this form or buy this thing, book your class, we'll meet and we'll talk about your goals, make them feel like they know exactly what those next steps are going to be. So, a lot thrown in there, but, just make sure your site, once they do find it on Google, steps them through, reassures them that they're in the right place, that you understand them, and then steps them through those next steps.
Yeah. So if people want to learn more about how to do this, we've covered a lot of ground in about 20 minutes. If people want to find out more about the step-by-step process that you go through for pretty much everything that you and I have talked about here, you and I are actually partnering up on a collaboration right now, which is that we've joined forces. We've taken kind of Connie's knowledge of the industry and then my brand knowledge of SEO. And we put our heads together and came up with a self-paced course just for fitness and yoga professionals who have their own websites to learn the local side of SEO. So we're not doing any YouTube videos. You don't have to do any fancy email funnel. Well, maybe you want to put like an email on there. So I don't want to say no email, but no fancy like nurture sequences. This is about getting found by people who are in your community and figuring out how to turn those people into your clients. So if you want to get more information on that, you can head over to Love at First Search, look for the term fitness, look for the term yoga. I'll have more information in the description below this, a link directly to that. You can go straight to our courses page and grab that. So if you want more information, head over to loveatfirstsearch.com. And then if you're like, this sounds cool, but I actually just want somebody to build my website for me, I'm going to let Connie do her introduction to how you can work with her now here.
Right. I would love to chat with you. You can find more about my design services at pixalitydesign.com and fill out the contact form there, and we can jump on a free consult call and talk through your goals and how I can help with that. I really think, I'm so excited that we're doing this, Meg, because I really think that for businesses to, see results in their business, I think just marrying that SEO, that local SEO with a good website design, I think those are really the two foundational pieces. And, I'm just excited that we can offer now different ways that people can get that end result that they need.
Exactly. And you can get the insights from both of our shared experiences and businesses in this one place. So thank you so much. Oh, and we'll definitely have a link to Connie's website right down in the description below this. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out to either of us. Thank you, Connie, so much for hopping on to just talk through how this works for these fitness professionals. I think it's such a specific way of reaching people that is different from what most of the internet is telling us that we need to be doing. So I really appreciate your time today.
Right. You're welcome. I know I feel like you can get so bogged down with SEO and it can feel so overwhelming. So this course, I think, really just boils it down to what you need to know as a fitness and wellness practitioner or professional. So yeah, really.
And I should mention also, you can watch the entire course in less than an hour. Right? Like this isn't something that's going to take forever. I think you can watch the entire course in an hour. If you already have a website, these are things that you can start implementing right away. It doesn't have to be, wait 6 months. The thing that's going to take the longest is if you set up your Google business profile and you have to wait for a postcard to get to you in the mail, but you can do other things while you're waiting for a postcard. So this is something that you can set up and start to benefit from. Within a week, you might start to be able to see some traffic picking up and people noticing you. And then you can benefit from it for like years to come. So it's absolutely worth taking the time to learn.
Right. And we do talk about that too, is there's the initial stuff. And then it's kind of, okay, now how do you continue to build credibility within those assets that you just created through the course? So kind of take you into like the checklist stuff that you can do right now, get done with, feel good about, and then what you should be looking for going forward to continue to build that credibility. So we hit on that too in the course.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.